Despite Donald Trump's election night win, he still faces 4 criminal indictments and a potential sentencing later this month. Trump and his allies were indicted both in Georgia for allegedly interfering in the 2020 election. Some of those charges, you see them here, were dropped. It's now on hold while the state appeals court considers Trump's request to get the district attorney, Fani Willis, who just won re-election, removed from the case altogether.
Trump was found guilty in May on 34 counts of falsifying business records in New York. His federal election interference case is currently on hold pending an appeal, and his federal classified documents case was dismissed in July. Special counsel Jack Smith earlier had appealed that decision. However, we know that he is now in conversation with the Justice Department about how to wind all of that down. We're going to bring in CBS News legal contributor Caroline Polisi to talk about the legal fallout amid the impending transition of power. So we know that the Department of Justice and the special counsel's office is currently talking about winding down that investigation, those cases. But for his part, Trump promised not only to fire Jack Smith, but also potentially to deport them. I'm wondering where all of this goes from here. Does this all just go away given the situation of Trump being the president-elect, or is this put on pause? What happens now?
Yeah, that's right. I think the exact quote what Trump said he would fire Jack Smith within 2 minutes of gaining office. These federal cases will go away one way or the other. He certainly could appoint a new attorney general who would then direct the special counsel to drop the case, the Justice Department to drop the case, to fire Jack Smith. I mean, all of those are on the table. The latest reporting indicates to me that Jack Smith may not want to go down that road, that the Justice Department may want a more elegant solution to this problem. And that is they are likely going to rely on this Office of Legal Counsel memorandum, which states that the Justice Department cannot prosecute a sitting president. Remember, we heard a lot about that memo under Robert Mueller in the Russia investigation. And that was the memo, the idea that Mueller relied on not to indict Trump that time. So the idea would be that the spirit of that memo would embody presidents-elect. And so Jack Smith may voluntarily, in conjunction with the Justice Department, wind down these cases with the knowledge that they would eventually be stopped anyway.
So, well, will Trump be criminally sentenced in November, or will the immunity ruling we're talking about wipe away the convictions for falsifying the business records specifically?
Yeah, big question. So currently the sentencing is still scheduled to move forward in about 3 weeks' time. Prior to that, Judge Marchand has said that he will make a decision on that pending motion to dismiss, which Trump's attorneys lodged after that Supreme Court decision, noting that presidents have broad criminal immunity for conduct that took place while in office. Now, remember, this was the hush money case. A lot of that conduct did not take place in office. Nonetheless, Trump's team is arguing that the entirety of the prosecution's case was tainted because there were several pieces of evidence that did take place in office, and therefore they are covered by presidential immunity. We'll see what Judge Marchand does in terms of whether or not he kicks the sentencing down the road and how the ruling on the motion to dismiss plays into that, whether or not he does even sentence Trump at all. But the bottom line is Trump won't be serving any time prior to gaining office, after those 4 years. He serves those 4 years. He likely will sort of stay the entire issue pending his appeals. Remember, he is certainly going to appeal that conviction. That takes time in New York State. So, the bottom line, however it shakes out specifically on the technicalities, is he's really evading any accountability for any of his criminal wrongdoing because of his election to the presidency this time.
And it is so interesting that as you're talking about Judge Marchand, it's worth reminding our viewers that he's a judge on the New York State Supreme Court. When we're talking about federal pardons and things like that, the president-elect doesn't necessarily have the same jurisdiction or broad control.
Exactly. Caroline Polisi, thank you.